Today on State Requirement, we're breaking down how to get a business license. This is one of the most common questions we get asked, and also one of the most misunderstood, because most people picture a single piece of paper called the business license that you go grab once and you're done. And that's just not how it works. So we're going to clear that all up. We'll cover how to know whether you need a business license, the different types of licenses that you might run into at the federal, state, and local level, how to actually apply for the right ones, and how to keep them all valid once you've got them. So grab a coffee and let's get into it. Section 1. Do you actually need a business license? First things first, and this is the part that trips almost everyone up. In the US, there is no single all-purpose business license that you grab once and you're free to operate. It just doesn't exist. Instead, a business license comes down to two things and two things only: what you do and where you do it. So, before anything else, the real question to nail down is simply this: do you even need one? And the honest answer is that most businesses do need at least something, but it's not guaranteed and almost never the same thing twice. Here's what that looks like in practice. Take a barbershop. Just to open the doors, you're usually looking at a license from the state to legally cut hair, a health inspection for the shop, and a business license from the city. And that local layer is where it gets even more unpredictable. In one town, that business license might be all they ask for. In the next town over, they might also want zoning approval and a sign permit before you can open. This is because when you do need licenses, they tend to come at you from 3 different places at once: the federal government, your state, and your local city or county. Each one has its own rules, its own forms, which is how a single business can end up needing a whole stack of them just to open its doors. It's honestly a bit of a mess, but messy licensing rules are kind of our whole thing. And look, that's the exact reason our business license research service exists. Instead of you trying to figure out which licenses apply to your specific business, in your specific location, we just do it for you. We hunt down every federal, state, and local license you need to operate legally and hand it all back to you in a clear list for a one-time fee of $500. If that sounds like your kind of shortcut, the link is right here in the description below. Section 2, the 6-step process. Alright, so let's say you've confirmed that you do need some form of licensing. The good news is that while the exact licenses will differ from one business to the next, the overall process of getting them tends to stay pretty similar. So we're going to break down the 6-step process in the order you'll actually work through it. Step 1. Form your business and get an EIN. Before you chase down a single license, you'll want to get your business properly set up, because most license applications are going to ask for your business details and tax ID number. This means that if you apply for everything as a sole proprietor now, and then decide to form an LLC a few months later, you'll usually have to go back and redo a good chunk of it. For most small business owners, the recommended move here is to form an LLC, which stands for Limited Liability Company. This is because it keeps your personal assets separate from the business, is super affordable to get set up, and gives you real flexibility in how it's taxed and managed. Once your LLC is formed, you'll also want to grab an Employer Identification Number, or EIN, from the IRS, which you can think of as a social security number for your business. You'll need this to apply for certain licenses, open a business bank account, etc. Quick note, if you do not want to form an LLC independently, you can use one of our vetted partners for as little as $29 plus state fees. You can find more information on this in the description below. Step 2. Write down what you do and where. Once your business is set up, the next thing to do is to get clear on 2 things: what your business does and exactly where it does it. This sounds simple, but it's worth writing down because those 2 details are what decide the type of licenses you'll need from here on out. This matters because a lot of businesses do more than just one thing. If you're selling products, serving food, and putting up a sign out front, that could already be 3 separate permits from 3 separate places. So once you've got it written down, the rest of these steps get a whole lot easier, because you'll know exactly what you're looking for. Step 3. Sort out your state licenses. With that list in hand, the state level is usually where the bulk of your licensing comes from, and it helps to know that a state license can actually mean a few very different things. The most common license in this level is a seller's permit, which you'll need if you're selling physical products, since it lets you collect sales tax, and in a lot of states, it's free to apply for. Then, if you work in a licensed profession like a contractor, a barber, an insurance agent, or an accountant, you'll need a professional license from that field state board. Certain industries such as food, alcohol, childcare, and used car sales also carry their own specific licensing. And finally, if your business has any kind of impact on the environment, you may need an environmental permit on top of all that. So the best thing to do is run through each of those categories and work out which one applies to you, because for most businesses, it's going to be more than one. Step 4. Handle your local licenses. After state licensing is sorted out, you'll need to move on to your cities and counties' licensing requirements, which can be imposed on top of the state ones. The most common ones are local business license or tax receipt, a certificate of occupancy, which is the local government essentially confirming your space is safe and legal to operate out of, and zoning approval, which confirms you're actually allowed to run your type of business at that specific location. Beyond those, you might need a sign permit before putting up any signage, and a fire department permit if customers are coming in and out, or a health permit if you're handling food. The tricky part is that these local rules can vary quite a bit from one city to the next, so there's no universal checklist to follow. Your safest bet is to contact your local city or county office directly and confirm what you need before you open. Or, you could always just let us handle it for you. Step 5. Check your federal licenses. After your state and local licenses, the last place to check is the federal level. And for most businesses, this part won't apply at all. This is because federal licenses only come into play if you're operating in a specific, very highly regulated industry. This involves things like alcohol, firearms, aviation, agriculture, commercial fishing, and broadcasting. So if you're opening something like a coffee shop or cleaning service, this almost certainly isn't for you. And you can move right along. But if your line of work sounds like it might fall into one of these categories, it's worth taking a minute to confirm now, rather than finding out after you've already started operating. You should also note that a lot of these federally licensed industries are also regulated on a state level. Step 6. Keep everything valid. Once you're fully set up and licensed, the final piece is simply keeping everything current, because business licenses are not a one-time thing. Most licenses will need to be renewed every 1 to 2 years, although in very seldom cases, such as with a seller's permit, renewal will not always be necessary. If you fail to renew your license on time, you could be looking at late fees or, in worst case, not being legally allowed to operate. So the simplest thing to do is add each renewal date to your calendar as soon as the license is approved. Set a reminder a month or two ahead, and keep all your documents together in one place. A few minutes of good organization will save you a real headache down the line. Section 3. Frequently asked questions. Alright, that pretty much covers the entire process. To finish up, we're going to run through a few of the most frequently asked questions we get in relation to the business licenses. Question 1. How much does a business license cost? This one's a bit difficult to answer for 2 reasons. 1, you're often paying for several licenses, and 2, it really depends on your state and what licenses are involved. It also depends on whether you handle this yourself or hire someone to do it for you. Having said that, you should be able to get most state or government fees from the relevant website in your area. Question 2. Is there one national business license I can just get? Nope. This is the big myth we mentioned at the start of the video. There is no single national or federal business license that covers you everywhere. Licensing is handled at the federal, state, and local level depending on what you do, so it's always tailored to your business. Question 3. Is an EIN the same as a business license? No. And this one actually confuses a lot of people. An EIN is your business's federal tax ID number. It identifies your business to the IRS and is necessary in order to open a business bank account and apply for certain licenses. A business license, on the other hand, is a permission to actually perform a certain activity or operate in a certain place. You'll usually want both, but getting one does not automatically get you the other. And question 4. What happens if I operate without the right license? This will again depend on type of license, but generally speaking, it can lead to fines, forced closure, trouble enforcing your own contracts, and depending on your industry, even jail time. This is why you should always make sure that you have obtained the necessary license before you start operating. And that's the full picture of getting a business license. As we saw, getting licenses involves navigating procedures across federal, state, and local levels, and it all comes down to what you do and where you do it. Remember that every state and every city writes its own rules, so you should always double-check your specific requirements before you start. If this video helped, we'd appreciate it if you hit that like button and dropped your questions in the comments. We read them all and we answer them all. Alright, that's it from us. Stay compliant out there, and we'll see you in the next one.